going live button anyway. And hello, hi everybody. Welcome to Sell a House Wholesale Real Estate Training number 135 on this July the 3rd, Friday, baby. Freedom Friday. And what a better Freedom Friday to have than the day before the Independence Day of this country. I don't know. It's an exciting day. What do you say, John?
I say it's a very, very exciting day. Welcome to the Hangout, Paul. Welcome everybody who's joining us live here on pre-Independence Day, I guess you can call it. So, yeah, Paul and I do Hangouts 3 times a week for the real estate business as well as a network marketing business that we're involved in. And, I got to say that Paul is definitely the more dedicated of the two of us. If it wasn't for Paul hosting these and arranging these 3 days a week with, I think he's missed maybe 2 in a whole year, and any of the other ones he missed was ones where he gave me advance notice. I, on the other hand, am a little too independent sometimes, and I allow my ability of my free will to kind of overstep the boundaries of freedom. And Paul, you might be like going, what in the world? It's Independence Guy, and this guy's talking about boundaries of freedom? That seems like an oxymoron, right? But, the reason I bring this all up is that I'm a firm believer in a higher power. We at the end of each one of these Hangouts, we always do a prayer, to the Napoleon Hill prayer, where we say, "Oh, universe," and I acknowledge the universe. I'm also someone that I don't know how you classify me, but I believe in the biblical sort of God in my own way. Basically, what I'm getting at is I believe in a higher power. With that being said, we were given independence and freedom the day we were born. And it says so if you're still kind of know what 4th of July is all about and the Declaration of Independence. It basically says, darn, I should have brought up the exact quote because now I'm kind of stumbling, but I'll paraphrase the quote. Maybe Paul can bring it up on Google. But that we were born with God-given inalienable rights. And that is the freedom of our own minds. But with that freedom does come a price. And I know that a lot of entrepreneurs, myself, are guilty of this, is that we are given the gift of freedom from our Creator and ultimate free will. And as we get older, we allow other people to infringe on and control us, taking away our free will. But sometimes we, I think, allow our free will to take us or do things that we really aren't good for our lives. Like, there's some things that we need to, I guess, pay the price and go without doing and be good stewards of our free will. So I want to bring up the fact, because in our last Hangout, I mean, this is an hour-long Hangout, really. So if you want to get in on this conversation, you should go back to the last one and then kind of see where it came in. That's just a recommendation for everybody. But that we need to be good stewards of our free will, because I think sometimes we take advantage of our freedoms. But this is a day of celebration, but I'm saying this, it's also, to me, a bigger celebration when you can, I guess, harness your free will and your freedom and actually live a life of sort of a balance between the two.
And that leads right in to where my initial thought was, and that is freedom of choice, okay? That's really what it all comes down to, just what John was saying there. Your free will, and whether you are using it wisely or whether you are using it unwisely, is your choice. That's the freedom that you have, is to make the choice to do what you want to do when you want to do it, type of a thing. But in the whole overall scheme of life, that freedom gets taken away from us through the sort of the conditioning and programming that, is placed upon us, and the way that we're educated and brought up and learn, the things that we learn and everything. And our true freedom of choice slowly gets pulled away little bit by little bit by little bit. If you look at the life of most people, you start out and you go to, then you have to go to school. There's certain days you can't, from ages 1 through 5, you can pretty much do whatever the heck you want. Then you got to go to school every day, and then after school, you got to go to work all the time. And you don't have that freedom of choice to wake up in the morning and say, you know what, today I'm going to do this. And I want to expose that a little bit, because both John and I made freedom of choice decisions on this day today. Myself, my initial plan this morning was to wake up early, go to the gym, be on my call at 7 a.m., get ready for these hangouts, hold the hangouts, and then head off to go to work. Well, when I woke up this morning at 4:30, I thought, I don't feel like getting out of bed, and I'd rather lay here and think about stuff. And the next thing I know, it was 6 o'clock, and things were really coming into my mind. I'm like, you know what, I'm going to sit here and absorb all this. And then 6:30 happened, and I'm like, okay, time to get up and get ready here. And I got up, I started getting ready, and I chose to change my schedule to the point that I will, wake up, prepare myself for the hangouts, or listen to my call, prepare myself for the hangouts. Then I'll go to the gym. Then I'll go into the work and finish off the stuff. So it's a freedom of choice that I have that, quite honestly, 5 years ago, didn't have choice like that. On a day like this, well, except for this being a, American given holiday, that which blew my mind this morning. This is a crazy thing that on Jeff's call, he was talking about the fact that the building where his office is in, I mean, talk about taking away choice. The building in his office today is shutting off the AC. So even if you wanted to go to work, F you, you ain't coming in. There's no AC here unless you're crazy and you want to suffer all day long. You have no choice. I mean, talk about freedoms being taken away. Talk about your choice being taken away. But, the whole idea of, like I said, 5 years ago on a day like this, without a holiday being given, I would have no choice but to get up and go to work. But with building our own business, a wholesale real estate business, and it can be any kind of a business, we now have freedoms to make decisions to do whatever we want to do. Now, not 100%. I couldn't say, you know what, I'm going to do what I just said I'm going to do, and instead of going to work, I'm going to hop on a jet plane and fly to France and have lunch. I don't have that much freedom of choice yet. But the whole idea that, just having the ability to use, your freedom of choice to do things that you would prefer to do, opposed to things that you, quote, have to do, is really what, a wholesale real estate business, any kind of a business, is all about, creating for yourself and building. Because in this world today, especially, and in this country, your time is not free. You have to buy it back. You need money. I mean, money is not the most important thing on the planet, of course. There are other things far more important than money. But where money is important, it's extremely important. And so if you're not, focusing on at least a good portion of your time, or a piece of your time towards, the development of how to earn enough money to buy back your freedom so that you can live the life that you want to live, you're basically imprisoning yourself, because it's having a job that you have to go to every day that pays the bills and gives you a little bit of spending money to go out and, on a weekend such as this, and spend it all on barbecue and beer. It's really, you could very easily compare your life to that of a prison mate trustee. and quite honestly, the prison mate trustee has it even better than you do, because he doesn't have the worries of having to have food over his head, or food on his plate, and a roof over his head. He's already got that, So that's where the power of what wholesale real estate can put you on the path of learning and growing and building, as long as you supplement that with some personal development and get your mind right to be able to develop into the type of person who can actually take advantage of what wholesale real estate can offer to you.
Absolutely. It offers choice. It offers the opportunity to learn and grow, because as Paul said, when you get into any type of business on your own, I truly believe that you need to get in the business of improving your mind. That's probably the most important thing, is that when you're in the business of controlling and directing your own mind. That's whether or not you're an entrepreneur or an hourly wage earner or self-employed or own business systems or invest. The bottom line, to kind of just continue moving forward with what we're talking about here, it comes down to freedom of choice. And with that freedom of choice, we have to be good stewards in the way we exercise our free will if we want to get the desired results that we want. We know the difference between the habits that are and routines and the habits and routines and the path that we're on, where it's going to lead us, if it's going to lead us in way off in the direction we don't want to go. And sometimes it's more challenging. I don't even like to use the word it's harder. It's just more of a challenge. Get over that it's too hard. It's just, everything is just a challenge. And cool thing about it, and this comes back to freedom, is that you realize you could fail and it's okay, because you can choose to let that failure beat the shit out of you and make you want to stop trying to go forward, or you can look at those failures and grow as a human being, grow as a person, and entrepreneur and a business owner, because, okay, we spent $6,000 and wasted 6 months on a marketing plan that sucked. Guess what we learned? Not to use that marketing plan anymore. So sometimes, and I bring this up because we're talking about wholesale real estate, I've learned so much about human psychology, about myself, about business, about accounting, just from starting this wholesale real estate business. And the thing is, Paul and I really literally started from scratch, and did a lot of this on our own, but each one of us brought to the table something that the other was lacking, and we had other associations that we reached into really and brought in to find all the information we need that we were lacking. And here we are. It took us 3 years to get here, but we have this amazing business system, allowed us, with the small team that we do have, to put 19 deals in escrow in the last 65 days. And you know what? There's been 2 more since then, so there's 21 in escrow in the last 65 days if you look at it from that point of view. And we're going to be out there negotiating on at least a half a dozen deals each this weekend, and we have a team of guys going out and following up with a total of about 36 leads. And if you want to know percentages, I don't see why there's not at least 6 or 7 deals out of those 36 encounters. Those are good returns if you know anything about marketing, and we created a system to do that. So why go out and reinvent the wheel? You want to learn from people who are willing to share what they know with you, and in return they're just asking for someone that's dedicated to self-development and growing themselves and growing their business. And boom, you fit right in. And we would teach you everything we know. That's basically what I'm getting at.
Yeah, you said that you don't like to use the word it's too hard or whatnot, that it's just a challenge. Some challenges are harder than other challenges, and quite honestly, I think the personal development challenge is probably one of the most difficult, if not the most difficult. But without learning and growing, I can tell you right now, without learning and growing, I don't know about John, but I think he'll probably back me up on this, but we'd probably still be, beer guzzling couch potatoes trying to struggle along with a wholesale real estate business here that was producing maybe 1 to 4 deals a year, and beating our heads against the wall going nowhere, without the learning and growing on the personal development side and changing our own ways of thinking and opening our minds to being, to accepting new information, to experimenting, as John said, with a marketing plan that was a piece of crap. I mean, but that's what it's all about. I mean, your business is just like you have to take in new information, try it out for yourself, and if you don't like it or it doesn't work, toss it aside and find some other information. In your business, you got to do the same thing. You got to take in some new information, try it out. If it doesn't work, toss it out and go find some other information. If it does work, hey, this stuff works. Let's try it out a little bit more. Maybe we can tweak it a little bit. Maybe we can make it better. Let's go find some more information on how to do that. You have to continually be bringing in more new, different information. As soon as the day, and there's evidence of this out there in the wholesale real estate world right now, the day that you say, wow, I got this, this is working, this is great, this is all I got to do, bing, bang, boom, bing, bang, boom. The next thing you know, guess what? It's less and it's less and it's less and it's less until you're dead and gone, just like so many wholesalers from 2-3 years ago who are no longer doing wholesaling because they didn't adapt. They didn't look at what's going on around them. They didn't test and see what works and what doesn't work. They didn't try to improve what they had. They just took what they had, kept on doing it, and ran themselves right into the ground.
That's the difference between the wholesaler and the wholesaler. And it's, you know what it is? It's the difference between being someone that's trying to do it all on your own and not being consistent with a marketing funnel, trying to handle getting the deal from signature to closing, all without a team, all without experienced team members, and not having basically the most important element of any business is the system. The system for everything from waking up in the morning to wiping your ass to going to bed at night. And I mean that literally. There needs to be a system and a plan for your business that is foolproof. And you constantly got to be looking for ways to improve that. Let me break down a wholesale deal for you. You have to market to a lead. So first of all, you've got to gather that lead. No matter who you are, I don't know how you're gathering your leads. Some people go out and they do research. Some people go out and they buy a list. Some people go out and they drive neighborhoods for vacants. However you're gathering your leads, that's step one of the system. So you got to have a lot of those coming in, right? You need volume. Step two is now you need to campaign and market to those leads. However you do it, direct mail marketing, bandit signs, letters, postcards, however it is you approach these people. But there's a system for marketing to them. Ours, what we do, bar none the best, which is why we're getting more deals than any other wholesale company really right now. Step three is then you have to, once you're marketing to them, you're going to make contact, you have to negotiate a contract, true or true. So there's another system for negotiating the contract. Then you get their signature, it goes into title. Now you've got to deal with getting that thing through title, getting a clear title, your preliminary title report, seeing what liens or past due amounts or anything that's levied against that property, getting all that stuff negotiated and settled. In the meantime, you've got to kind of maybe go in, take pictures, clean up the property, do a little something. Any wholesaler should be investing a little time into beautifying on a small budget. I say you put $500 or less into every wholesale deal, and we'll show you how we do that to just clean the place up. And then once it's cleaned up, you're going to market to your buyers, so that requires pictures. That means some marketing for the buyers, making phone calls. That's another system. Then boom, closing, collect the paycheck. You know, with all those steps I just ran through, if you're one person, you can maybe be doing 1 or 2 deals a month, and at most 1 or 2 closings a month, wholesaling, doing that on your own. You got a team, you could be tripling those. Or in the case of Paul and I, doing 4 times more than if we were doing it by ourselves, and creating a system with the capability of doing even more. The point being is that we have a system that's already in place for all those things that I mentioned, which gives you the freedom, if you come aboard the team, to just go out there and do the most important thing. If you're going to wholesale, if you're going to be a wholesaler, you have to learn sales and marketing. So you're going out there and you're marketing to these people, and they're negotiating, and you're working a deal. And Paul and I are got the whole back line set up, and even teaching you how to talk with people and how to market to them. I don't know. I think that's a golden opportunity for anyone. So I'll toss it back to you, Paul.
Right. So taking this kind of back into the whole idea of freedom, starting a business, there's a saying that goes, prospecting doesn't pay. And that's a saying of the rich, because what it really means is that going out and creating something brand new is a pain in the ass. It's hard as hell. It costs a lot of money. It takes forever. And to build from scratch, prospecting doesn't pay. Okay. But to go out there and just duplicate or jump into or repeat or become part of something that's already working, that starts paying right away. So to bring this all back around to freedoms is, do you want to give up what little freedom you have right now for a very long time, which is the second reason why we have wholesalers outnumbering wholesalers by a huge margin, is because to start from scratch and to build from scratch, even if you are following somebody's sort of guru system or something like that, it's still a start from scratch build on your part. I mean, they give you the outline, but it's still a start from scratch build that you have to create here, that takes time, that most people aren't willing to devote that time into. So being able to jump into something that's already existing and just go, wow, all I have to do is this little piece right here, and I'm that quickly and easily associated to a payday, which is how our system works. That's where it's a big difference between your freedom. I mean, if you could spend one day a week and you're trying to build your wholesaling business, you're got it, like John said, with all these steps. You have to start with gathering and marketing leads, and then you also have to be able to, in that same one day, be able to contact and negotiate with leads. And then within that same one day, you need to be able to get documents and monies and things and whatnot, to title, to open an escrow. And then in that same one day, you've got to be able to work with the title company on things that might need additional work, that could require you also to work with other third-party sources that you need to, on behalf of title, on behalf of your seller, on behalf of yourself, to get into place that's going to enhance or keep your deal alive. Then in that same one day, you have to get to the property, as John said, evaluate the property, come up with your exit strategy. How are you going to flip this property? What's the best way for you to make the money? What are you going to do to maybe prepare this property? Get the pictures in that same one day. Then you need to be developing all of your marketing to get this property out to your potential buyers, so that you can get a back end and a closing set up on this property. And in that same one day, you need to be putting together the contracts for those buyers and making sure that they're getting their monies and their contracts also into escrow, and so you've got one day to put all that stuff together. And how long is it going to take you to build a business? I mean, sure, you've got the outline, you've got the game plan there, but how long is it really going to take you to build something to where all of those things you've got sort of systemized to now where maybe you don't have to spend all of that one day doing all of those pieces? You can cut it down. I mean, just there's a lot to it. And what we're trying to impress upon you is the fact that we've been through that. We have all that. We've done all that. It's all in place. All that stuff's taken care of for you with our system. And all you have to do is just one small piece that you can actually spend one whole day doing just one small piece and attach yourself to a number of potential deals instead of wasting that whole one day attaching yourself to one deal.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, it's more than just that. It's like we know from experience some of the old systems that we tried. You know, you can learn a lot from people's accomplishments, but you can also learn a lot from people's failures. And I'm not someone, you know, I go back and forth on this, but my current mindset, my whole idea is there's no such thing as a failure, meaning there's always a silver lining, there's always something to learn. So every failure can be turned into an opportunity, and it can be turned into an opportunity, or it can be turned into an excuse. That's what I'm looking to explain here. And if you're in the mindset that a failure is okay to fail, I mean, that's not an excuse to go out and purposely fail, but it's what I mean here is that, again, it's a choice. How do you look upon your failures? And I bring this up because talking about wholesaling, Paul and I have done a lot of things in this business that didn't really work. And you can learn a lot from the experience of, because we literally sit down with people who tell us, oh, this is a good lead, and this is what you guys do to market to this lead, right? And we're like, no, that doesn't work. You know what so learning what doesn't work, especially with the budget, we're like guerrilla fighters. And most of the people that come into wholesaling are like guerrilla fighters. They don't have a pot to piss in. So you don't have a large budget, so you've got to know that what you're going after is the good lead. And that's what we can offer to show people. And then you'll have the choice. And we just had a guy on the team he had the choice now to quit his job at IHOP and work full-time going door to door now. So
that's awesome, because look at that. He was just given freedom of choice to continue working for someone else, or the choice to be able to work on his own time, on his own hours, at his own pace, and probably spend more time on some of his personal development stuff so that he can become a better person, to be out there doing what his role is better than he was doing it before. And freedom of choice is really what this all comes down to on this Freedom Friday, the day before Independence Day, which I'm going to say, if you gather from all of our hangouts here one thing, it is to open your mind to possibility, because anything and everything is possible as long as you believe it's possible. If you believe it can't happen, it ain't going to happen. That's just the way it is. Henry Ford said it, I mean, as clearly as you possibly can. If you think you can, or you think you can't, either way, you're right.
Right.
You know, it's totally up to you. So, you know, believe that it's possible and you can make it possible. And with that, I'm just going to go out there and say, happy 4th. Take this day, open your mind to possibility, and today go out and celebrate, well, tomorrow, today and tomorrow, as well as celebrating, you know, our country's independence from, you know, British rule. I would say celebrate your own freedom from lack of choice, and make this Independence Day about you, about your freedom of choice.
O universe, I ask not for more riches, but for more wisdom with which to make better use of the riches given to me at birth, through the power to control and direct my own mind to make the choices that I desire. That's it. I screwed that up. But anyway.
That's weird. The way that you said it, it sounded like there was more coming.
There was supposed to be more coming, and I kind of had a brain fart.
That's okay.
Morning staring at a computer screen. I apologize, everybody, for screwing up the ending, but have a great Independence Day, and we'll see you back here on New Op Day.
Yep. Yep. Freedom of choice, baby. That's what it's all about. Happy 4th of July.